I'm here to see Top Gun Maverick. I got to admit, I'm quite excited about this one. My prediction is that it's going to do a Force Awakens, which basically means it's going to be a solid retread of the original movie. My prediction is that Maverick is not going to have developed in character in the last 35 years. He's going to be start the movie the exact same guy. I think there's going to be, in the early part of the movie, a lot of cocky rivalry between a bunch of pilots. There is going to be lots and lots of flying, lots of fighter jet porn. And then at the halfway point of the movie, the slightly more feminized character, who's not the testosterone guy, is going to tragically die. And that's going to send Maverick into a confidence, emotional downward spiral. And then at the end, there's going to be a military fight. And Maverick is going to reach within and he's going to help me goose, help me goose. He's going to find the power within to overcome, and he's going to save the day and be victorious. And along the way, there's going to be a love story where the two characters have zero chemistry between each other. And there's going to be a topless, greased up, very homoerotic sports scene. So that's my prediction, and we'll see whether I am right. I have seen too many movies, or at the very least, too many belated sequels, because I was pretty much on the money with almost every single prediction. Maverick starts the movie as pretty much the same character he was at the end of the previous one. A love story. A lot of testosterone characters, but one less testosterone man. A topless beach sporting scene where, just like the Goose character in the first one of them is wearing a t-shirt. Yes, it's the character with the less testosterone than the other guys. A bunch of cocky pilots training for a mission. A death at the midpoint. Rivalries that get solved with the victorious mission, at the end. It got a little bit silly in the climax. You kind of think the climax is over, and then another climax happens, and it is a little bit like Behind Enemy Lines meets Firefox meets James Bond, which I wasn't expecting, but still a lot of fun. I was actually more right than I realized when I said I think it's going to go down the path of Star Wars The Force Awakens, where it's going to tread that, because the main mission of the entire movie is to fly down a very narrow trench and then launch missiles at a ventilation shaft that is only 3 meters across. Which, does that sound familiar? There was an awful lot of nostalgia bait. So when the movie began, the first few scenes of it, it's all danger zone. It's the same kind of orange tinged fighter jet porn where the jets are all taken off the carrier and everybody's really, really sweaty, which I don't understand when you're on a flight deck on the ocean where presumably there's a lot of wind. Everyone's got massive beads of sweat all over their faces, just like the original. I was right. There's an awful lot of talk to me, Goose, talk to me, Goose. One difference I will say with the Tom Cruise Maverick character is he certainly cries an awful lot more than he used to. But Tom Cruise is actually, he's a good actor with that. I mean, he's such a charismatic guy, and he barely looks like he's aged. I mean, considering the guys, well, when they filmed this, I know it's been delayed several times. I imagine he was about 60 when they filmed it. He doesn't look 60, I tell you. I mean, you look at some of the other characters, Val Kilmer, Ed Harris. They're certainly not what they used to be. It was interesting that Val Kilmer was in this, and as we all know, Val Kilmer's had health problems, which has kind of wrecked his voice. And they actually wrote into the script a reason for why his voice was the way it was, which, I mean, it's a nice touch to bring him back. There was an awful lot of nostalgia bait. So, of course, you have Tom Cruise with the jacket, with the exact same motorbike, driving along, racing alongside a plane taking off, things that you've seen before. In fact, there was an awful lot of things that were familiar, like standing in a bar and looking around at the end, exactly the way he was looking around for Charlie in the first movie. There's a scene where in a bar, someone's on a piano playing Great Balls of Fire, stuff like that. I mean, the movie started with Maverick as a test pilot, and I found that probably the most intriguing part of the movie because it was something sort of different. It was something that was not on, you know, the tried and true path of the previous movie. And it was undeniably excited, and it was undeniably Maverick, the character, and pushing the outside of the envelope and all of that. And then, of course, it went back into the much more familiar territory. The thing is, yes, it was familiar, and yes, there were times where it was very predictable. Certainly in the very final dogfight, you knew exactly what was going to happen. But that's no bad thing. And I think, it did walk a very familiar path a lot of the time. But unlike where other films have done that, the original is so good and so beloved and such an iconic popcorn feel-good blockbuster movie. It was fun. It was really feel good, a real event movie, an event movie of the kind that you don't often have these days, where you walk in and don't go out disappointed. It was everything I think that you would want out of a Top Gun sequel. I know it's been a long time coming, but it certainly is worth the wait. Because, yeah, I left with a great big smile on my face, and I think a lot of other people will too. So, on that token, big thumbs up. Really enjoyed this movie.